All right, so welcome everyone. Again, we look forward to a really great session today. We're excited to be showcasing Watchdog. It's really revolutionizing the managed service industry by giving SAP customers complete visibility into your critical ERP landscape on top of our proactive SAP support. So we're excited to show that to you today live with a demo that Nick will be doing. Just a few reminders and housekeeping notes. Everyone's microphone and camera are on, so please just mute yourself when you're not talking, but we want to make this as interactive as possible so we can stop throughout and take questions. And just a reminder, we are doing a live demo, so this might go a little over 30 minutes, so please join in and ask questions as we're going through, and of course all the recordings will be available on managecore.com after the session today. And now Nick Militich.
Thanks, Kristen. About our Watchdog monitoring tool. It is kind of the lifeline for our basis managed services. It provides us all the metrics and alerting that we need to make sure that our client systems are running efficiently and smoothly, and no critical issues are occurring that we don't happen to see. So a little bit about Watchdog before I get into the demo. As I mentioned, it really is our monitoring and management tool for SAP and the underlying infrastructure. So it does do server monitoring, up, down, CPU, memory disk, but it also provides us some capabilities around cloud automation. And I'll get into that in a little bit as we go through some of our demo. But it really offers a few different things. It offers the ability to not only monitor, but it is our reporting platform. So it takes all those metrics and it shows you weekly, monthly, yearly statistics. We keep everything for our clients for 2 years, so we can have that trending analysis. So as our clients grow with us, we get to understand their environment at a more deeper level and are able to report on it and start being as proactive as possible, which is really the key to this tool set. Most of the monitoring that you see out there is very reactive in nature. So it does monitoring from a, I would say similar to CCMS type of platform where you send out a ping every 5 minutes, every 30 seconds, whatever it's set for, and then it comes back and tells you, is that particular check good or is there something going on with it? Red, yellow, green type of alerting. And that really allows you to be able to see if something's happening at that point in time, but our tool set takes that to a different level, and it actually not only reports for point in time, but it actually gives you daily trending and daily monitoring. And I'll get into that with our tool set demo here as well. But it is all provided to our clients. So anything that is you see in our demo or anything that you see on the screen here will be provided to our clients. We're very transparent in that fashion. What you see is what we see. We may see more clients, but it's all the same charts and graphs that we see. You'll get access to it if you're a client of Managecore's, but you also get access to customizing your own dashboards, customizing your own reports. And really, we do that for 2 reasons. One is this is your environment. So we've taken the philosophy at Managecore to provide our clients with a tool set to also look into what they have. Yes, we monitor, yes, we maintain it, but at the end of the day, it is your environment and you should see what's going on in your environment. And the second part of that is mean time to resolution. We have a lot of clients where they can log in and they see issues happening as they occur, and they can see it with us and help us troubleshoot it. Examples could be something where a batch job fails. They could get alerted and see that right through the dashboard, and they see why it fails as fast as we see why it fails. And we can collaboratively get together, see the same screen, see the same data, and fix it in a faster fashion versus us or a managed service provider trying to look at it, then notify the client, then figure it out. You just waste a lot of time doing that, which is why we've taken the approach of just showing our clients exactly what we see. But that being said, I'm going to go into the demo now and just show you around the tool set. It is from a high level perspective, so we won't get into the absolute nuts and bolts of it, but at least you'll be able to see the environment, see what's going on. It is a demo environment, a solution manager system, so may not be a lot of data and transactions happening, but I'll at least show you here what the environment looks like. So let me switch screens here. Okay. All right, can everyone see my screen? Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome, thank you. I saw the head nod. So here is our tool set. This is our standard platform. What you see here is our default dashboard that we give clients. Part of what Managecore does is create a standard template of dashboards and reports for our clients right out of the gate. So it really,
Nick,
yeah.
Nick, this is Carl. I don't know. I can't see your screen. I see your Nick, the NM, but I don't see. I don't know if anyone else is having that trouble or not.
No, we can see the main screen. Krishna here.
I see it too.
I
Yeah.
see.
Must be just me. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, user error, Carl. Yeah.
My world.
No worries.
Sales is being quiet now. See ya.
All right. So what you see on the screen is our default dashboard. It is set up and configured day one. We give that to clients so they can get a feel for what our tool set's capable of. And then from there, we work with our clients to change the dashboard around. This dashboard happens to show everything for a productive system, but we can make dashboards for your non-prod environment. We could move around these, what I call widgets. Basically anything that is monitored in the environment. If it has a already predefined widget available, we can put it on this dashboard and slice and dice it any way we want. Another example would be if your company has maybe BW as well as ECC, and your BW team has access to this, we may end up creating a BW specific dashboard so that your BW team can just see the systems they want. And it's in a very convenient, red, green, yellow type of dashboard. So very easy to see exactly what's happening right out of the gate. And this, as you see here, if some of our clients use this and just keep it up all day long, they can see as it refreshes every so many seconds, did something turn red, green, or yellow. And it's very convenient too, as you get to use our environment. Let's say a user complains and says that they can't get access to it. You can quickly just see right here, well, it's green, it's working, and maybe check connectivity or something like that. So it's a very quick and easy way to see what's going on in your system. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Managecore uses this tool set to not only be reactive in alerting and stuff that happens at that point in time, but we use it to be proactive as well. And what I mean by that is we take a two-prong approach. If you see here at the drop-down, what I have is what's called RTM and daily checks. So you see the RTM here and you have daily checks here. Now, what you can see here is that our RTM is specifically around real-time checks, right? RTM stands for real-time monitoring. And what that does is it checks for something that is occurring at a certain interval, every 5 minutes roughly. It goes out, polls, and checks depending on the alert, and it will tell you did something reach red, green, or yellow threshold. That is the core of our standard monitoring and what goes through our environment to alert our consultants if something's up or down or requires attention. So the RTM is really focused on what's happening at any given point in time. But we also have daily checks, and I'll get into that in a little bit here as I show you an SAP system. But daily checks is specifically around what is going on every 24 hours in your environment. Now, why is that critical to split out? One, we want to know certain metrics for your environment and how they're trending, but we also want to know of potential issues that can spur, other issues like eventually an outage as an example. And one daily check that's pretty standard is expensive SQL statements. If we take that as an example and we say, I want to know every day the most expensive SQL statements, maybe it's the top 10. You'll get that through your daily monitoring in this daily check. However, you don't need to be alerted to it at 2 a.m. that an expensive SQL statement happened. Same thing with IDOCs. One thing that Managecore monitors is IDOCs. So we have a check that says how many IDOCs older than 365 days. You'd be surprised how many of these environments have IDOCs older than 365 days. And when I say a lot, I'm talking in the millions for older environments. So those are items that we want to clean up and make sure they're not causing additional overhead in your environment, or work with the functional team to figure out why maybe an expensive SQL statement's occurring. But we don't need to get alerted for that. You know, as my example goes, at 2 a.m. in the morning, we don't need to get a phone call saying that we have an expensive SQL statement. But we use those daily checks to make sure your environment is running 100% in order, and we use that again to be as proactive as possible to prevent issues happening down the road. So going into monitoring, we monitor 4 different real areas within your SAP environment. One is the server, so the infrastructure itself. Then we do SAP systems. So that's similar to what we would consider a SID, right? So PRD is an example. Then we have SAP instances, and those are all the instances underneath the SID. So your PRD instance may have a database server, a PAS server, and maybe a few AAS servers attached to it. And then databases. We monitor databases twofold. One from an SAP perspective, but we also can do checks on third-party databases. So let's say you have a SQL Server database, an additional Oracle database that sits somewhere that isn't part of the SAP landscape. However, you need it because you're pulling data out of it to then interpret within your SAP environment. We can monitor those databases as well. And then in addition to that, we can monitor cloud services and business objects. This tool set actually separates that out because, as we all know, business objects is monitored separately. It's a different animal than your standard SAP environment. Okay, so if we go to SAP systems, right here you'll see our solution manager environment. You'll see 2 SIDs, SMJ, SMS, and then TST. This little hand here denotes that we put in maintenance mode. So that hand just means that it's not being monitored right now. But we have 2 environments here running Oracle. You can see here that just out of the gate, this shows what type of system role it is, what database release, what platform it's on, and it even provides you with a description of what the instance is. So if I go into the ABAP stack here, and it opens half pane, so to open it full pane, we hit this little paperclip. You'll see basically what this system populates when we connect up. You'll see that it populates a SID, what type of role it is, and we can adjust this. Maybe it's a quality system. We enter these users. There's 3 users that are generally used. RFC user, so this is an SAP user. Then we have a database user and a control user, and that control user is generally SID ADM. And these 3 things allow us to connect to your SAP instance, your OS, and your database. You'll see here your SAP database is populated. I did not do that manually. This pulls that in. So our tool set will pull all this data in. And keep in mind, any data you see here can be compared, and it can be referenced. Let's say from a Managecore perspective, we have a bug that we find that happens to be on clients running Oracle on DB release 12.1. Managecore can go back and compare all the environments and see which part of our client base is running 12.1 really quickly. Generally, in about a couple minutes, we can have that report done. And then we can go back and be proactive with our other client base to say, hey, we've seen this issue happen at this client. We want to make you aware of it. And we noticed that you don't have the particular patch in, as an example. And we go in and do that and recommend putting that patch in. So this tool set allows us to compare clients as well on the back end so that we can be as proactive as possible and provide all of our clients with bugs and issues that we find at maybe one client. We can do that really quickly across our entire client base. So if we go to SAP system details, you'll see now we have the instances. So we have a central and an ASCS here. Again, this is all populated. I did not go in and add this. I also did not go in and add these instances as well. This tool set, as long as you put in the server, it will go in and actually look at your profiles directory and pick up all the instances that are underneath it, and it will automatically add them to the SID associated with it. So again, very, very automated. I don't have to go in and click through and add environments. I just add the initial system, the agent sends the data and automatically populates under the correct ones. This will show you your SAP client. Obviously, this is a test system. I did not create another client in here, but this shows the default ones. If I had multiple clients, they'd show them in here. ABAP components, very useful. I can go in and I can see all the ABAP components that are in this environment. I can see their versions and their patch levels. But what's unique to this product too is I can also compare them across environments. Now, I don't have another system here that's ABAP. However, if I go to the More tab here and compare components, I can go and compare ABAP, Java, software, or namespace components. So if I selected ABAP, you can see here that this is the only environment. I can put this in here and do compare components. And what it's going to do is that anything that's different is going to be in yellow. Clearly, mcore.tst is not the same system. So, and because it's in maintenance mode, it doesn't show anything. However, it is saying here that all these systems are different. If I do all parameters up here, you'd see the whole list populated. But right here, you can see anything in yellow is different from the system I'm comparing. So the reason it's yellow again is because I don't have any components in here. It's not a real SAP system, so it's saying they're different. But you saw how quick it was to compare these components, and you can do that across your whole landscape. So if you have a dev, queue, sandbox, prod, or let's say you have a sandbox environment that you haven't touched in a while, I can quickly compare the components and say, all right, do we have something out of whack? Maybe we didn't push something all the way into production from dev. I can see that really quickly here just by comparing these components. Okay, so going back to the SAP environment, I can do it to Java as well. This is an ABAP stack, so I don't have that here. It also shows me software and namespace change options. I can see and compare also between systems. So we all know, is queue the same as production as an example? What's modifiable in queue that's not in production and vice versa? I can do that comparison as well for software and namespace. And then our ever so favorite SAP licenses, it will tell you when it expires. We actually get alerted on it. This is very useful, especially for refreshes, to make sure that the licenses have been put in place after an SAP refresh from, maybe we're doing a refresh to quality from production and we have to relicense it. Okay, so I'll get back to the checks in a minute. SAP system parameters, this actually pulls in parameters. So it'll pull in your SAP environment parameters, and it'll also pull in your database parameters. So it'll tell you, what Oracle parameters are set, what SAP parameters are set, but also it will allow you to compare that just like I compared the components. So if I go here and I go to compare profiles, I can compare all these different databases. I can also compare the SAP instance. So here's some instance types. If I remove all these and do a SMJ default, this is going to show a lot because one's Java, one's ABAP, and one's nothing, but that's okay. You'll get the picture here. And I compare profiles. Everything in orange is different. So this basically shows you what is different across the three. Notice here they're both the same, but this one is blank, so that's why it's showing across the three. And you can see every parameter that's different here. Now, how this is useful as well is you can compare across your landscape to say, maybe there's something that ran well in queue, but once you moved it to prod, it just wasn't running as fast. We can quickly compare parameter sets to see, is something in quality configured differently than something in production, and figure out, okay, what are the differences? Look at everything in the orange here. Okay, I noticed that a specific parameter set was different, right? Maybe the memory tuning setting was different. I need to set that in production because it's in quality higher than it is production. So I can quickly compare these profiles. And same thing with database. Oops. So here I know we're running Oracle, SMJ and SMS. Compare profiles. Everything in orange is different, and you can see here everything, everything in Oracle. If you're running HANA, it does the same thing. all the databases are supported. If I hit all parameters here, you'll see that there's some that are not orange. Now these aren't orange because they're the same. So this cleanly allows you to sort what is changed and what isn't. And let's say you have to provide all the parameters to your auditors. I can quickly export them and send them to your auditors, and you'll have a complete list of all your parameters. Okay. Unique to this product too is that we do end-to-end monitoring. So what that means is I can take a business process you have and turn that into a monitored solution. So I can take, for example, let's say you have an FTP that comes in externally, gets dropped to a server, and let's say PI then picks it up, processes it, drops another file, then maybe ECC picks that up and runs a report. I can monitor the file drop, I can monitor the process in PI, and then I can monitor the job that runs in ECC all straight through. And if there was one part that failed, I could use end-to-end monitoring to alert me on that entire process and see where it failed in that chain. So we set this up for our clients when they want to have some type of end-to-end monitoring for a specific business process. Okay, so now performance. Anything you see in these charts can be set through a report as well. So if you see something in here that you like as you use our tool set, you can actually get it in a report as well. So database size, I'll just go through here. You can see from the 14th through the 21st, it did not grow, mainly because we don't use it. But I can go back a year as an example to refresh. And it shows me from April to April how large my database grew. And you can start doing trending. You can see, based on the year, I need to plan for next year to do X, Y, Z, and that's part of the service that Managecore provides. We go through this with our clients on a quarterly basis to make sure that as we're going through this environment, we plan for that annual growth. You can monitor database as well. Depending on the database itself, we'll have different. It'll have different metrics, but you can kind of start seeing all the different type of metrics that we can provide. That's not that pretty of a graph, but you get the picture. Number of transports you can see. We don't do transports in this environment unless we put a patch in that you saw here. So again, not a lot of stuff going on in this environment, but you can get reports out of here very, very easily. And they are interactive reports. So if I go to database and just do database size, and I wanted to look at what was going on in August, I simply highlight that area and it will zoom in to August. So it is an interactive graph as well. Okay, changes. Pretty awesome feature in our product. This records changes that happen at the database level and at the SAP level. So if we put in a patch, if we put in a parameter, I can go back X amount of days and actually see what has happened in this environment. So I'm going to go back 3 months and we're going to refresh. And basically you can see in the last 3 months we've done only Oracle parameters here, but if I go back and go to a different screen, page 3, lots of Oracle parameters. I must not have done a lot of SAP parameters in this environment. But I'll just use Oracle as an example. If I double click on it, you see the date it was done. You see the time, and you'll see what we changed it for, from and to. That goes the same for SAP parameters. It'll actually show you what patches we put in. So if we put in a support pack, it'll show you that as well and say something was implemented. So very, very great way to see what was changed at a given time. So from a troubleshooting perspective, I can see, was a parameter changed or tuned? If I'm having an issue, I can see, what happened the last 7 days. If a user says, this was working 2 weeks ago, I can see what happened the last 2 weeks and see if a parameter was changed at the database or SAP level. But I can also see, was a patch applied? And this is great for auditors as well, because you can go through this environment and say, over the course of a year, here's all the changes we did. It does show if a client's open. All of that is managed and recorded through this part. Okay, then we have our standard type of availabilities, maintenance, and notification messages. So Availability is pretty straightforward. Planned and unplanned downtime. This will actually show you what, in a given month, a year, whatever it is. And we send this to our clients on a weekly basis. And then we can set maintenance schedules here. So if we have a maintenance schedule we want to put in, it'll be here, and then we can adjust it, and that'll turn off monitoring for the duration of the time. Okay, so now on to checks and monitoring parameters. I won't stay too long in the monitoring parameters section, but there's a lot of parameters. Anything in green or gray, you can see that we made an adjustment. You can also see we have parameter sets here. I do this on a Managecore wide standpoint and then a client specific standpoint. So basically what my parameter sets do is allow me to push out thresholds for clients specifically in one fell swoop. So let's say I wanted to exclude client 066 out of QRFC monitoring. I make a parameter set, and the next time this check goes, which is every so many minutes, it will actually now exclude it from the monitoring. So now it won't monitor or alert on 066 across my whole client base. So very, very quick way to just mass exclude or mass update values for these parameters. I won't go into all the parameters. You can see here, again, just what was changed. If I do show all parameters, you can see clearly there's a lot we monitor, right? All of these parameters are the thresholds that we monitor. So a lot of stuff to monitor, but I won't go into any more detail on the parameters themselves. So now we get into checks. As you noticed, we have RTM and daily. So I mentioned we have the checks that happen every day, and we have the checks that happen, every so many minutes at a regular interval. So here I'm showing all checks. You can see here it's solution manager system, so it treats it as an ABAP stack, and it has definitely ABAP specific monitoring sets. Now I only have a set here that monitors ABAP in this presentation. However, if you were to have a PI system, we do have PI specific checks that get put on instead of in ABAP stack such as ECC. So it is tailored toward the product itself. You can see here, red, green, yellow. If I want to see just what was yellow, I click on this, or just what was red, I'll click on that. So you can kind of see what's going on in this environment. It provides you status, age, and last check. So you can see it's been green for a day, but this one's only been green for 3 hours. So I want to dig into that, and I want to see what's going on. I didn't get any messages, but it basically is telling me that it's a daily check. So it's only going to show me once a day. But I'm going to go to RTM here. So all these 1 day, they've been good for. This was checked 20 seconds ago. This one has only been green for 7 hours. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to go to history. And what that's going to show me is every time it changes a threshold. So I can start seeing when did something change. But again, it's only as good as looking and scrolling through this. So what I like to do is go to this chart. It's a little busy, but it'll actually show you what's going on in that environment. This one happened to go till September of last year, and I can scroll down. Well, clearly here in a visual setting, I can see that every day at a certain time, let's scroll down at 5, and what is that, roughly 8 o'clock, something happens with these jobs. So I can start trending. And what I use this twofold, one for trending and trying to fix issues that I see happening all the time. But also I use it to say, is there an anomaly? Let's say I got an alert at noon today, and I looked and this was yellow, but I'm looking through this history. I noticed that not everything's yellow. So I look at this and try to figure out, okay, that is an anomaly, but it's an issue I need to really take a look at, as opposed to me getting an alert at 5 or 6 a.m. and I know that this happens in this environment every day. But this allows me to troubleshoot and be proactive against these alerts. I can start trying to fix the problem. Now, again, this is a demo system, so I did not try to fix the problem, but you can see here how we can use this easily for trending. Let me go back. Now that's RTM, and here's the daily checks as I mentioned, right? Number ranges, we monitor for that. User password audit, that's similar to what you see in your early watch report, right? DDIC, password not trivial, password is well known for TMS ADM. Let me go to a few of these other ones. It tells you the amount of short dumps within a 24-hour period, data dictionary, so it'll tell you number of unknown tables in the ABAP data dictionary. So it'll actually show you that, and we can go in and be proactive and fix all these issues, right? Our consultants go through this, fix these issues so that they don't become problems, right? Right now, they may or may not be problems. They usually aren't, but we want to be as proactive as possible, get rid of all the reds and yellows in these daily checks. And you'll notice most of the stuff is green here. And that's what we really strive for. We also monitor SSL certs. I know that's a big thing for a lot of clients these days. They have a lot of external certs that they use. This will tell us 30 days in advance that, in 30 or 15, depending on the cert, if it's about to expire, so we can take action and get new certs for you. Okay. I'm not going to go too much into the other monitoring because I know we're running a little short on time. However, you can see here from a server perspective, if I go in similar to the SAP system, gives me a lot of the same information. This tells me what instances are running on that server. Standard checks, right? CPU, memory disk, paging space, time offset. You may not think it's critical, but if that gets too out of whack, what happens is stuff such as your jobs does not run correctly going forward. But we have the same type of metrics, graphs. You can see CPU load. We can see how that's been going over the last year. And again, very easy to change the date and report against. So as you see this environment come up here, you can see, there's certain spikes. I can go in here and say, okay, once a month, what happens? Let me click into it and let me see what's occurring and see if I can't troubleshoot it. So, very robust product. I can also use a lot of these metrics to cause triggers. So I mentioned earlier from an automation perspective, at some of our clients, we actually have the ability, to make calls and spin up and down servers. So as an example, I have a client in GCP. They have an app server that's spun down. I can launch a Google Cloud command to now spin up that server, turn it on if the CPU load goes above 99% on a specific instance. So what that means is it allows me to automatically try to correct the issue and give relief to the user base while troubleshooting the problem. So we can mitigate a lot of downtime or user interference by being able to automate certain things like this, like as an example, spinning up an app server if CPU load goes high or memory goes high, right? So we can customize this and tailor this to whatever our clients need depending on their infrastructure. Okay, I know I went through it pretty quickly, but I'm going to pause on this environment and maybe take some questions before we get out of this demo so that I can maybe click into this environment if anyone has any questions specific to the tool set that I can show them. So any questions around the Watchdog platform?
That was a great demo, Nick. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Was there a question?
Okay.
Well, I guess I had a comment. As we're looking at the, basis managed services and MSP industry, Watchdog for us and Managecore is a huge differentiator. Can you talk a little bit more about that and how really kind of leading the charge in the industry by providing our customers with this?
Yeah, sure. So most MSPs will claim they have a monitoring tool, which is absolutely correct. They'll have a monitoring tool. It'll look at the environment. It'll report back if there's an issue. But I'm sure out there, and I've seen it where maybe the alert works sometimes, maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's a lot of noise to your environment, so the cleanup's pretty difficult. So having a tool set is one thing. Having the ability to quickly look at systems, quickly implement this environment. I mean, it only takes a week to implement and get it cleaned up. Cleaning up your environment so that there's not a lot of noise in the alerting. The reporting mechanism around this. We have default reports. I can change a report template within 10 minutes and actually give our clients the ability to create their own reports should they choose so. It takes a lot of what clients are looking for and actually putting it into practice. Like I said, saying you have a tool set that can do this is one thing. configuring it to do it is a whole nother issue. And I see oftentimes that it is not the case at clients that we've taken over management. A lot of them, don't get the reports, maybe don't have the visibility into it, maybe don't have the appropriate threshold, so it's just spewing messages out. All that is taken care of through the automation of this environment as well. So it's very, very easy to set up and configure, and gives what our clients were looking for, the ability to do this even on their own, and the transparency to see what we're doing in your environment, which is very unique in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And the automation piece too, we're configuring this and writing code back to your environments in these public clouds such as GCP, and I can spin up servers, right? I have the capability to do that, and the integration to that allows me to cross platforms, and allows me to support from more of a holistic standpoint, where it's not just, hey, I'm monitoring your system and that's good enough. We don't settle for good enough. We try to be as proactive as possible.
Awesome. No, that was perfect. That was, in just talking with a lot of customers and going through Watchdog, they just love it. They've never had this level of access before with any other MSP. So it's kind of a new way of managing, and they really are enjoying that. So awesome.
Hey,
Any
Nick,
other questions? No, go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, Nick, this is Carl. A couple things. I think it's important for everyone to understand this comes as part of our solution stack, right? This is what we bring to the table. So you covered that, but beyond SAP, maybe you talked about other things that you can monitor using our tool.
Sure. So our tool set, has the ability to monitor SAP, and it's very SAP centric. However, it has the capability to integrate in other tool sets. So as an example, in GCP, there's Stackdriver. Stackdriver does a lot of great alerting, but we want to centralize that. We can parse Stackdriver into our tool set. This tool set will monitor any OS. It'll monitor all the database, the major databases. So I can add this to a database that may not be SAP centric. I can add this to servers that are not SAP centric, and give you more of a holistic monitoring solution, versus just saying, I'm going to monitor SAP. I can get you across the board, your entire environment monitored through this tool set, if you should so choose to do that. And it connects up to different monitoring tools. So it is very easy to integrate into other platforms.
Awesome. So for me, on the other side of the spectrum, on the sales spectrum, time to resolution, and then the accountability that our services bring to both sides of the table, I think it is critical. And Nick, I'm sure you can appreciate that, where we can drill down to see not only where the problem's coming from, but how to prevent it moving forward.
Absolutely. Yep. Our mean time to resolution is significantly lower than industry standard because of this tool set.
Any other questions? All right. Well, I think that will wrap it up. So we're changing it up a little bit. The next session we're actually going to hold will be next Thursday, April 30th. It'll be covering, again, why Google Cloud for SAP. There's really specific technical components to the Google Cloud that were purpose-built for SAP. So we're excited to, again, share that with everyone and kind of take a deeper dive on a technical perspective, and then also talk about financing your migration project. So Google Cloud has a lot of great incentives out there, and Managecore is able to take advantage of those for customers. So we're going to take a closer look at that as well next Thursday. And as always, you can view the recordings, share them with colleagues, watch them yourselves. They're all located on managecore.com. There's a live link there. And just a reminder, if anyone is interested in implementing Watchdog or wants to see how it could really impact their own environment, please reach out to me. I'm happy to set up a solution session with a Managecore customer engineer. My email is there, ktanner@managecore.com. I think that's about it. Thanks again, Nick. We really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, everyone on the phone.
Thank you.
Thank you.